When you're trading time for money, it's actually far worse than what you think. On the other side, it's possible to earn passive income. It's possible to earn money while you sleep. I know this because that's how I earn most of my income. In this video, I want to share with you a really powerful tool that I came across about 2 years ago after I read this awesome book. And it really helped me to understand how I was basically trading time for money. And I could also see clearly how I could turn that around and stop trading my time for money. If that sounds good to you, let's get stuck into it. First, it's a really good idea to have a look at the difference between trading time for money and making money while you sleep. Because when you understand the differences, it makes it much easier to figure out a way to actually achieve what you want out of life. Let's look at it. When you're trading time for money, it's actually far worse than what you think. So on one hand, you might be earning, let's say, 50,000 a year, and on the other, you are spending 50 hours a week. But the reality is that you're earning far less than that because you have to spend money on transport. You have to spend money on the clothes that you wear to go to work. You have to spend money on lunches, on coffees. Let's not forget you have to spend money maybe on holidays that enable you to unwind. All these things add up so that your 50,000 after tax is actually even less than what you thought. So let's say 50 grand turns into 35 after tax. Maybe it's only 30. On the other side, let's not forget the time that you spend thinking about work when you're at home. What about the time that you spend actually doing work? What about the time you spend commuting? So all of a sudden, the 30 grand you earn takes 60 or 70 hours or even 80 hours a week to achieve. On the other side, it's possible to earn passive income. It's possible to earn money while you sleep. I know this because that's how I earn most of my income. And it wasn't a straight line. It wasn't easy necessarily, but I think when you can make the leap about where you're spending your time in your life, then you're able to turn it around and start to work towards this future self that you want to create. So let's talk about that. The reality of going from trading your time for money to earning money while you sleep means that you have to do one of two things. You can either invest capital and then that capital can grow, and then you can reinvest that capital to grow even further. So the children have children, which have children. And of course, this is how people become ridiculously wealthy through investing. This is how Warren Buffett became rich. He only really became fabulously rich because he's been doing it for so long. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's brilliant at what he does, but it's because he keeps compounding his profits that he becomes richer and richer. And essentially, you want to be able to do the same thing, either with your capital, and ideally with your capital and with your time. So the way you leverage your time is to create a business, ideally, or do at least work in a job that fulfills your needs as a human, where you don't feel like you're in the grind. So by doing an inventory of all the time that you spend awake and figuring out exactly where you spend all your time, you can then start to see how you can make adjustments so that you are working towards your future self. So for me, when I last did this, I realized I was spending 6 hours a week watching TV. The interesting thing about that is when I looked at the reason why I was watching TV, it was because I was feeling I needed to unwind, and a bit of a good laugh watching a bit of TV was seem to help that. But the reality is that I probably could have been doing something better work-wise, or finding systems and processes, or outsourcing some of the work that I was doing. And so that's what I did. I hired a full-time employee to help me to basically do almost everything that I was doing, which then freed me up to really focus on the things that were far more enjoyable and also lucrative. In my case, I hire someone from the Philippines, and she started out costing me $3.50 an hour. I'd pay her quite a bit more than that because she's so awesome at what she does. The reality is that she does a lot more work in the business than I do, and without her efforts, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, which is at the moment talking to you on YouTube, which is something that I get a lot of fulfillment out because it's such an awesome community and people comment, and please leave your comments below. But I'm getting a little bit off track here, because what I want you to do is to take an inventory of the time that you spend. But I also want you to have a really clear vision for your future, where you think you want to be at this moment. And think big, have fun with it. If you get a clear idea of where you're spending your time each day and how much you're spending on a weekly basis, then you can start to say, okay, well, for me to get to this future self that I've envisaged, I need to seriously change what I'm doing here. For example, if you are commuting to work, perhaps you need to learn something. You could be listening to a podcast on the way to work, or perhaps you could negotiate with your boss to work from home, or perhaps you could quit, or perhaps you could start a side hustle. Whatever works for you. So I just wanted to read a little piece to finish with from the book Be Your Future Self Now by Benjamin Hardy. He says, prioritize what matters most and eliminate what does not. The more you take ownership of your time and attention, the simpler and easier to realize your future self. I think that's an awesome way to finish. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave your comments below. I'd love to have a conversation about how you are making changes in your life and what good things you have got planned in your future. Thanks for watching, guys. Speak to you again soon.